Hey guys, what's happening? I want you to look around your kitchen right now. Count how many items came from overseas. Now imagine each one costing 15 to 20% more within the next month. That's exactly what's happening as the US tariffs on Chinese vessels prepare to disrupt every shipping route to the Caribbean. Our islands import over 80% of our food and consumer goods. When the cost of shipping containers jumped from 3,000 to 4,005, and I'm not talking about that's the cost to ship it, because containers cost sometimes around 20,000 US dollars to bring from China. This is an additional money that will be added onto it because of these new tariffs. Every single product will feel the impact. CARICOM leaders are calling for exemptions, but Washington is focused on its trade war with Beijing, not on how it crushes us in between. We will be crushed. That's why I keep advocating to you guys. Be prepared. The entire Caribbean will feel this pain. That's a direct quote from President Irfan Ali. And when a head of state uses words like this, we need to pay attention. We are caught in the crossfire. And you must ask yourself, why Caribbean islands are the unintended victims? Why? You ever wonder why small island nations always suffer when superpowers fight? Let me show you what's happening right now. While the US and China throw economic punches at each other, we are the ones getting knocked out without even being in the ring. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Trump's America, or Trump's America First trade policy, isn't just about targeting China. It's about to wallop every ship entering the US ports that has any connection to Chinese shipbuilding. So we're talking about a proposed $1.5 million fine on Chinese made vessels. 1.5 million fine on Chinese made vessels. And you might think, so what? Let China pay that. But here's the problem. These fines will affect nearly 98% of container ships worldwide. Yes, you heard that right. Almost every single ship bringing food, medicine, and other essentials to our islands. I keep telling you to prepare, to prepare. People think I'm joking. People say prepare for what? Well, this is what it is. These aren't just random numbers I'm throwing at you, you know. China builds 61% of the world's merchant vessels. So take a moment to digest that. More than half of the ships moving goods across the oceans come from Chinese shipyards. And virtually every shipping company on the planet has Chinese built ships in their fleet. Now, do you think these shipping giants are going to eat these massive fines that America levy on them? Not a chance. They'll pass every cent directly to importers, who will do what? Pass them straight to you and me. That's how business works. Nobody observe the costs when they pass them on. You understand? What makes this particularly devastating for us in the Caribbean is our extreme dependency on imports. We want to import everything, although we have the land space to grow. Over 80% of what we eat and use daily comes from somewhere else. It comes on ships. I'm talking about the rice on your dinner plate. Could you believe that? Although we have rice mills in the Caribbean. The flour for your roti, the medicine in your cabinet, and the materials built in your home. All imported. Sometimes we could import from Caribbean countries right here, but we prefer to go abroad. President Irfan Ali of Guyana didn't mince words about this. He was talking about it. He warned that these US taxes on Chinese vessels will hit the oil and gas industries hard. and drive up costs for nearly everything coming into this region here. And this isn't speculation. It is already happening. Last week, while I was getting the information about all of this, I talked with a shipping agent in Kingston, that's in Jamaica, and one in Bridgetown, it's in Barbados. And they're not waiting to see what happens, They're already drafting notices about 15 to 20% price increases on container shipments. They're already doing that, drafting these prices. Let that sink in. We're not talking about some distant possibility here, no. We're talking about price hikes that are being planned right now as I speak. I've been warning for years about this. And I've been warning for months since I've been on this channel. Think about what this means in real terms. A single container costs 20,000, 3,000 is added on to it. Soon 4,500 added on to it or more. That's before accounting for any inflation factors or supply chain issues. That's a 50% increase hitting every product in that container. 50%. But guess what? We've seen this movie before. Previous US trade policies have repeatedly caused unintended consequences for Caribbean economies. When Washington imposes tariffs, we end up paying more for essentials while our local markets struggle to adjust. But this time, the scale will be unprecedented. I'm not sure how many of you heard Prime Minister Gaston Brown of Antigua saying we risk starvation in the Caribbean. I'll talk about that in another video. The worst part is that we are caught in the US trade war crossfire because we're dependent on both powers. We're dependent on the United States, we're dependent on China. Goods to sell in store comes from China. We want to buy things from Amazon, they come from the US. But these things are also made in China too. We're so dependent on both of these powers, but we cannot influence any of them. And we have zero control over how goods reach our shores. Zero control. Being small doesn't mean we deserve to be collateral damage. It does not mean that. But we'll have to take some blame for ourselves too. From fishing boats to grocery shelves, I'm telling you, the ripple effect on everyday Caribbean life is about to begin. And while politicians debate tariffs in air-conditioned offices, you have Caribbean fishermen already doing the math on whether they can afford to take their boats out next month. This isn't some abstract policy discussion anymore, It's about to hit every aspect of our daily lives in ways most people haven't even considered yet. And that is the biggest problem. I was in Barbados last month talking to a guy named Martin. He's a fisherman who's been feeding his community for about 30 years or so now. Every time diesel come up, and I'm quoting him here, every time diesel goes up, he said, I have to decide, do I catch fewer fish or do I charge more? People already complain about prices, but they do not understand my boat doesn't run on seawater. That's what he was telling me. So when fishermen like Martin stay dock, local markets going to do what? Sell less fresh fish. Restaurants are going to serve imported alternatives. And families now are going to eat less protein, proper protein, not the lab-made protein I'm talking about. Caribbean economies have this unique vulnerability that's about to be exposed in the worst way possible. We saw what happened during COVID-19. When shipping costs increase, it creates this domino effect that spirals through our entire way of life in this Caribbean. Listen to me. I want you to take the coming impact on our regional energy sector. Guyana, Trinidad, and Tobago, and Suriname are developing oil and gas industries that should be creating prosperity. That's what it should be doing. But over the weekend, if you listen to President Irfan Ali, according to him, he says these tariffs will increase transportation costs for the entire sector, transforming potential economic growth into yet another burden for regular people. That is what's going to happen. Prices are just going to skyrocket. The electricity situation is what really keeps me up at night, when I think about it, with these small islands. Most of our smaller islands still depend heavily on diesel generators for power. So when diesel costs jump, so does your electricity bill. It's that simple. Last year, after a smaller fuel price increase, my own electricity bill went up 22% in just 2 months. That's how bad it is. And with these new tariffs, people, some islands are looking at potential 30 to 40% increases in electricity costs. It is going to be, I don't even know how to put this anymore. Just think about what that means, okay? You have water desalination plants in places like Anguilla and BVI. They need electricity to produce drinking water. What do you think is going to happen there? Cold storage facilities need power to keep food fresh. Hotels need electricity for everything from air conditioning to cooking. So you get the point now. Because one shipping tariff creates this cascade that reaches into virtually every corner of island life. It's gonna be bad, guys. It's gonna get really bad. You visit markets in St. Lucia, Dominica, or Antigua. People tell me vendors aren't waiting for official announcements. Like Brom just made an announcement that we risk starvation in the Caribbean. They're already planning price adjustments themselves. Everything we sell comes on a ship. One produce seller told me the plastic bag, the scales, even the tables we display on, all imported. When shipping goes up, what do you think is going to happen? Everything goes up. And you might think that local businesses that compete with imports would benefit from all of this. Because that is what I thought too, until I actually talked to them. There's a guy who I spoke with last week. He called me from Jamaica, furniture maker in Kingston. And he explained it perfectly to me. I'm quoting him. He says, I make chairs here, but my tools are imported. My varnish is imported. Even the wood sometimes, because we cut down so many trees, there's almost nothing truly local anymore. Everything comes on a ship. Almost every single thing we consume comes on a ship. The tourism industry, which many islands are counting on for post-pandemic recovery, is facing the perfect storm. Hotels import almost everything. Linens, bathroom fixtures, kitchen equipment, even food ingredients for restaurants. And with higher shipping costs plus increased electricity bills, math becomes impossible without raising the rates, which risk driving tourists to cheaper destinations. So what can we actually do about all of this? I'm not just here to spread doom and gloom, because people don't like to hear reality. They think when you speak reality, you're speaking doom and gloom. There are practical steps we can take right now, as in right now. First, what I want you to do is to support your local farmers and the fishermen before the crisis hits. Start supporting them, not buying the ground provision and buying the fish. Leave the dirty chicken from the US aside. Building those relationships now means better access to local food when imports get more expensive. Second thing I want you to do is to reduce your household dependency on imported goods where possible. Those fancy packaged foods from America, they are about to get a lot fancy in price. And last, of course, pressure your government representative to develop stronger regional trade networks. They overdo it far too long. The Caribbean Basin has over 44 million people. Why are we still importing basic foods we can grow here? Why? Pressure them. This crisis could actually be a wake-up call. We've been needed for decades. Just like the migration crisis in the US. Experts are now saying Caribbean nations must develop economic reliance and resilience strategies. Not just as a response to these tariffs, but as long-term solutions to our vulnerability. Look, I won't sugarcoat it. The next few months will be tough. But this could finally force the regional cooperation our leaders have talked about for generations. What I want you to do is to share this video with everyone who needs to understand what's coming. and drop a comment below telling me what you're doing in your community to prepare. Because somehow I believe your solution might help someone else get through what's coming. It is coming. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, guys.